Hey everyone, it's always a pleasure to bring you interviews of success stories from clients that I have worked with and have had the pleasure of seeing them grow and really achieve their dreams. And one such client that I had such a great privilege of working with is Anthony Bryan. He's a Great British World Champions gold medalist. He's won 2 gold medalists in the World Championships, and he's gone on to do even further great things. And let's just introduce him now and talk to Anthony about his success story through our Thinking into Results mentorship. So, Anthony, it's absolute pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, there's so many things to ask you, and there's so many things to talk about. But we'll try and make it as short as possible. But you came into my Thinking into Results mentorship back in December of last year, and it was actually just a week before Christmas, from what I remember. And you made that decision that you wanted to hire a mentor and really make some changes in your life because you had some big ambitions, you had some big dreams as well. So, where were you in your life before you first started Thinking into Results?
So when I first started, so I was competing in a lot of athletics. Athletics was because I competed for England. I was like top in the country. I was always competing, and then once it becomes the next level, going to the Paralympics, then I was always kind of under par on those standards. So I went to the World Championships and I won the medals there. So then I was thinking, I need to find. So if you're not top in the world going to Paralympics, you're not getting the same sponsorship as the top athletes. So it's harder to do as much training as they are. So I need to find what more can I do with my life. So I worked in a gym, but I really wanted to do more. I wanted to do motivational speaking and motivational talks around schools to inspire kids. I wanted to do more with my fitness and helping others to get fit and stronger. So I was always really interested in kind of what the universe can do for you and thinking outside the box and meditation and trying to learn new things. And you do all of that. So I thought I'd give it a go.
Yeah, and I remember we had a chat. I invited you over, and I was checking out your Instagram as well. I won't lie, I was checking out your Instagram to find out a bit more about you, and I was really, really intrigued when I learned that you won the gold medal, not just once but twice in the World Championships. And I asked you what your goal is, just how I ask anybody that comes to work with me and wants to go through the mentorship. And you tell me, what was your goal?
So my goal was I wanted to be a motivational speaker around the world, inspiring and motivating as many people as I could. And I wanted to kind of build my own business, especially on social media. I wanted to grow my social media on my Instagram, on my YouTube, which could help me go around the world giving more talks.
Yeah. And we spoke about that. And I went through exactly what it is that you've done in the past and how our mentorship can actually help you achieve some of those results. And what kind of goals would you say you had before you came into Thinking Results? Like, what was your thinking like before?
I always wanted to do it. I was like, oh, I wish I could do that. I'd like to do that. But I never kind of took any steps to do it.
And were you ever dreaming big, or were you just kind of mediocre dreams?
I've always dreamed big for everything I do. So with my athletics and sport, always dreamed big. But I think it's kind of dreaming big, but wishing it would happen, but think it would never happen, kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's almost like wishful thinking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to do that, but you'd never think it's really possible.
Yeah. And that's what most of us do. We will say, oh, we love to do this, or we love to have that. I'd love to do this. But then we never really take the action to actually make it happen because the belief's not there and the confidence not there. So the goals that you were setting before you and I started to talk and you came into our mentorship, they were nowhere compared to what we got you to set. and to go for them. One of your goals was, as you said, you wanted to be a motivational speaker, but you also wanted to set your own business up, your fitness business up. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So, how has the mentorship then helped you in achieving those goals?
So you kept me you made sure I was doing. He's like, you need to do this, and you need to take action for doing things. So, for example, I was like, I want to do more talks. So we sat down and we looked for ways how to get talks, and then to go out there and do that. And by doing that, I started talking to schools, and this year, I managed to talk in front of 8,000 students at multiple different schools. So that's like a big chunk. So I just think I can make a difference to all those lives just from doing my talks. And
wow.
I then wanted to start my own fitness exercise classes. So we started to look into ways by taking action steps by getting it started. So I did get it started within about 2 weeks. And then I started asking, but I don't know where I can teach these classes. And just by talking to people, a lady goes, I know where you can use somewhere. And she found me a place, and it started happening. And then I had about 7 people coming to my classes every week. Then after doing that for about a month or two, I got talking to someone who's in charge of a bowls club. And they were like, I have about 20, 30 people that would love to do your class. So now I do 2 different classes on bigger scales now. So it's growing and growing.
Yeah.
Just by taking those
amazing
steps.
Yeah. And, you never thought you'd open up your own business. Again, it was just it was a wishy-washy dream, wasn't it? You never thought that you'd be a business owner, but you've set up your own business. You've set up your own fitness business where you're helping people train and do what it is that you're doing. And I think at this point, it's also worth mentioning as well that from the age of 6, you had a tumor in your brain. Right. If you want to share that story with our viewers, it would be great, because it's a wonderful story. And I think that will just give people encouragement if they've gone through something similar or they know of somebody who's gone through it. Share that story.
Yeah. So I was a very sporty, active child, always running around, always playing football, very, very active. And then I started getting some really bad headaches at around about age 5 or 6. And doctors couldn't work out what was wrong. They thought I was having migraines. They just gave me paracetamol and said, oh, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. But these headaches started to get worse and worse. And I really kind of depleted from being very sporty and active to being very, very lethargic and always having these really bad headaches. And eventually my parents thought this isn't right. So they took me to a private hospital to get checked. And when I went to the private hospital, they checked me, and within 24 hours, they gave me a brain scan. They found a tumor the size of a tennis ball inside in my brain. So you think a 6-year-old's head is probably quite small, the size of your hand, and a tennis ball is probably the size of your fist. So it was a pretty big tumor. And what they found was this tumor was shutting down my vital organs. So they had to give this operation as quick as possible. So when I went in for the operation, I was supposed to just go in, have the operation, and come out and back to your normal life again. But during the operation, due to all the stress and the pressure, I suffered a stroke. So I lost the use of my left side. And when I came out of the operation, I kind of had to relearn how to live life with one hand and one leg. I was bedbound for 6 months, wheelchair bound for 6 months. So as a child, all you want to do is just be your normal active child running around and playing. But I was very traumatized, very demoralized. It kind of shocked to the system. I didn't know what was going on. I thought I should have this operation, go back to normal life. But I had to relearn everything. I relearned how to walk, do everything with one hand. And I began to hate who I was, began to hate myself, be embarrassed of who I was. Because I was the only disabled person I knew around, really. I went back to school maybe a year later, and even though all my friends included me in everything they did, it just wasn't the same for me, and my kind of confidence went right down. In when I was running around with everyone else, I'd wear long coats to try and hide my disability. I'd try and hide away. I'd sit at the back of the class and no one could see me. I was always trying to hide and fit in, but sport was what I loved. And I remember one thing that kind of really broke me or upset me was there was a PE lesson at school, and it was a football lesson. I was like, I'll go and goal, I'll go and goal. And the teacher said to me, you can't go and goal. You need two hands to go and goal. And because of that comment, I just kind of stayed away from sport, even though sport was my kind of thing. And that, so my confidence was well low. I was always told I can't do this, you can't do that. So I never tried anything. And it wasn't until kind of secondary school, really, Tottenham Hotspur had a football team for disabled players to take part. So I took part in that. And for once, people were telling me, yeah, you might have a disability, but don't focus on what you can't do. Focus on what you can do. So they were like, you might be able to use one side, but the other side is super strong and super powerful. So let's focus on that. And I ended up being the top goal scorer. I found somewhere where I could really be myself and come out of my shell. And that's where I love to be. And the coach then said to me, oh, you've got some really good speed on you now. You're getting stronger. You should give the Paralympics a go. So but I was, at that time, I didn't know what the Paralympics was. So you didn't really hear about it. So I just said, what's the Paralympics? And he said, the Paralympics is like the Olympics for people with disabilities. You'd be great. But because my confidence was so low, I just said, no, there's something I definitely don't want to do. Why would I want to show off my disability? I'm trying to hide it as it is. So he just said, let me talk to your parents. I spoke to my parents and said, get that boy in a riding club. He's got some real potential. So they thought, yeah, we'll give that a go. Got me in a running club, and it really opened up my eyes. So I went to my first disability competition, and I looked around. Every single athlete had a disability. This was kind of new for me because everything I did was with able-bodied people. Mm-hmm. So it opened up my eyes because every single athlete was going out there to be the absolute best they could be. And no one was judging each other or looking at each other funny. And this is incredible. I actually ended up winning 2 gold medals in my first competition. So that kind of inspired me to want to do it more because it made me feel good about myself for once instead of thinking I'm useless. And that kind of just steamrolled. I then, a few years later, I got into the 2012 Paralympic trials, and the top 3 get selected for Paralympics. And I actually finished 4th, so I just missed out on that. Yeah. And but this was an amazing experience for me. I got to run at the Olympic Stadium. And after that, I really wanted to get to the next one. So my coach said, right, let's try 800 meters and let's try 1500 meters because you got that speed, but you're slightly slower than the others because you're a weaker side. So let's try a different tactic. So we tried that. I actually ended up getting to the World Championships representing England, where I won gold in the 800 and the 1500 meters, and I was now world champion. And what I found was by achieving these things, my confidence started to grow, and I didn't hate myself as much. I think I probably hated myself inside for the majority of my teenage years into my 20s. So it took me a long, long time to actually start liking myself and thinking, I'm not useless. I am good at something. I can show those doctors that said I would probably never walk or be very active again that actually, yes, I can do it. Yeah. And I kind of started showing my real determination and resilience. And after winning those gold medals, I then thought, wow, if I was told I'd never walk or be very active again, and now I'm a world champion 800, 1500 meters, what more am I capable of doing? What more can I do? So I started pushing myself more physically in the gym. And then I entered a 10K race, which was the furthest I've ever been. And I never did any training for it, but I thought, I wonder if my body can actually complete this. Let's see what it can really do. So I did the race, and it was a real struggle. I got halfway through, my left side started to struggle because that's my weaker side. Started to drag along the ground as I'm running and trying to pull myself along. Managed to get to 7K. And my mind's just saying to me, come on, this is ridiculous. Stop walking. This is just stop this. This is madness. This is not what you do. And as I was about to stop, a random woman ran past me and she goes, "You're doing amazing. So inspiring. I've been watching you the whole way. Keep going. Don't stop now. We're nearly there." And just because that random comment from this random person really kind of picked up my spirits, and I thought, she's right. I kept going. I kept pushing. Managed to get to that finish line. And the next day, I was thinking to myself, "Wow, if I never thought I was even capable of even doing that. I put no training in. How did I do that?" And I don't know how I did it, but I got to the finish line. I thought, if I put some real training in, what capable am I really of? So I put some training in. I managed to knock my 10K time from 55 minutes down to, now it's down to 47 minutes. So that's a big chunk I took off. And I just continually try and push myself to achieve now. My next aim is to run the London Marathon next year. So this is the furthest I've ever been. And still, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. I don't know if my body's going to be able to do it. But I like to see learn and see what I can really do. See what I'm capable of doing.
You'll definitely be able to do it, because the confidence that I've seen in you when you came and when we had our first chat back in December of last year, and where you are right now, it is completely different. You need a telescope to look back to where you were, as Bob says, right? And you've really inspired not others, but also you've inspired me, because, as you say, being disabled, I don't like using that word, but you've proved that you can do so much in your fitness and in your confidence levels, that somebody who is able-bodied and isn't doing that kind of level of fitness, it does put myself to a little bit of shame to think that, well, I've got no excuses, yeah. But I've seen your guys, check Anthony's Instagram out, check his YouTube out. He's done some amazing videos of his training and what he does, and I think you're an inspiration. And just, as I say, just your level of confidence has increased so much that you've now, you manifested doing the London Marathon, and that's a brilliant story to share as well. That through this process, it teaches you how to use your imagination and how to manifest the results that you want rather than what you don't want, because we're always manifesting, but most of us are manifesting things that we don't want into our lives. And through thinking into results, it's shown you that actually you can manifest. So you actually applied for the London Marathon, didn't you, which is happening next year? But it didn't happen the way that you thought it would happen. It happened in a much easy, effortless way for you. So if you want to quickly share that story as well, how that happened and how you've managed to get yourself a slot in the London Marathon for next year.
Yeah, so I just ended up watching the London Marathon and thinking, oh, this is really cool. I'd actually like to give this a go, see if I can do it. So they kept saying, oh, you should enter. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll put my name down. So you put your name down in the ballot, and not many people get through the ballot, but if you do, you're extremely lucky. So I put my name down for the ballot, and then underneath that it said, just in case you don't get the place in the ballot, why don't you enter a charity spot as well? So I entered a place in charity spot as well, just in case. And I put my name down on the Stroke Association because I had a stroke, and I told my story. And then a few months later, I got the email from the ballot saying, oh, unfortunately, you are unsuccessful, not getting a place in London Marathon. So I thought, oh, well, never mind. Maybe that's for the best. Maybe I'm not ready for it yet. And then like a few weeks after that, I got an email from the Stroke Association saying, oh, you are successful. We'd love to pick you as a person to run for our charity. I was thinking, oh no, here we go. Now I have to do it. I am ready. Maybe I'm ready to do this.
So there you go, right? So it happened in a much effortless way. You manifested that. You wanted to get into the London Marathon. And through the tools that we teach you and how you use your imagination to start to get what it is that you want in your life, you managed to do that. So how has the mentorship actually helped you in terms of accountability, would you say?
I would say I was probably always negatively thinking. You have to kind of spot yourself when you catch yourself, when you start thinking negatively, and turn it into a positive. Not saying, oh, I want this, or I want that, or it should happen, it could happen. You got to say it will happen. And you've got to take those action steps. Once you take those action steps towards what you want to do, you can't just say, think and wish it would happen. without doing the steps towards it. So for me, when I was doing my talks, in the beginning, I was like, oh, I wish I could do talks around the world and do this and do talks here and there. And then you kept me accountable for doing, have you been with the schools? Have you run the schools this week? Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you tried it? You've got to do the action steps. So then I did the action steps. I rang them, I emailed them, I talked it. And then eventually schools were like, yes, we love you, and we love you, and we love you. And then, like I said, I did 8,000 students, which is massive. And this is just the beginning. I can do more and more coming from that.
Yeah. Why do you think having a coach, having a mentor, is really important for you? Do you think you could have done it without that accountability then?
I probably would have dropped off. I would have done the worksheets and then thought, not today. With having a coach really helps because you talk through what action steps you can do, what might work next, new goals. Because there's always going to be times where you're thinking, this is not working. I'm going to give up now. But having someone there saying, okay, if it's not working, let's try a different way. Let's try something new, different or new. It will work. You just have got to keep trying. So it's kind of that motivation, just that little push to keep you going and tell you to be okay.
Yeah. And also in terms of what you've achieved, you've not just achieved the tangible results, but you've started to see the inner results because it is an inside job, as I always say. Personal growth is an inside job. Manifestation is an inside job. Anything that you want in your life, you've got to do the inner work first for you to see the tangible results. Would you agree with that?
Definitely, yes. Yeah. It comes from, if you're talking negatively inside yourself or to yourself, then you're going to attract that negativity. You need to bring in that positivity, manifest, meditate, and positively look into things you do want to achieve. And that comes from within, really. It's all about where your vibration is. So if your inner vibration is low, but you're trying really hard on the outside, that's not a good balance.
Yeah. What's your favorite lesson that you've learned in thinking in results?
The life scripts, because Bob says, what do you want to achieve? If you don't know what you want to achieve, start writing down things you want to achieve. Also vision boards. You start writing things, and then you find as you start writing, you're like, oh, actually, I'd like to do this. Actually, I'd like to do that. Actually, I'd like to do this. I want a bit of that. And then you start thinking, oh, I didn't realize I'd be interested in that. And you start kind of seeing things, these are achievable, kind of opens up your eyes to, well, breaking down those barriers to see what things you could really achieve if you really put your mind to it.
Lesson 6, self-image, confidence. That's what it was. Yeah.
That's probably the biggest one I have to work on myself, really. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think everybody, doesn't matter who you are, we've all got a self-image paradigm, and that you need to be able to change your self-image to match your goal each time as well. So absolutely fantastic lesson there. Aside from what you've achieved, so if we just list these down, you've set up your own business, you've started doing your motivational speaking around schools. Yeah. Your YouTube channel has increased immensely in terms of subscribers. Yeah. Same with your Instagram through the work that you're doing. And you've also increased your income. Am I right in saying you've doubled your income from what you were earning when you first came?
Definitely earning more. I haven't actually added up how much I'm earning, but I'm definitely earning more, which is good.
Yeah. So you've managed to do all of that within 6 months. Would you recommend this program, those people who are watching right now, would you recommend the mentorship? Would you recommend the coaching?
I would definitely, yes, because it's not just a program where you're just left to your own devices. You have someone that will help you through it and give you different techniques. And when you're down and thinking you're about to give up, it's all about someone helping you through it. So it's definitely a very big help and definitely something anyone should get involved in. It's really interesting learning these new things as well, because without doing this course, you would never hear about some of these things you could really help yourself to achieve.
That was my next question, actually, to say to you, because there's so many people who, I mean, the world of personal growth is huge, it's massive, especially over the last 3 years. I think people are really getting into this. The world of spirituality is opening up massive. These days, everybody is a coach of some sort, right? And although there's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of skeptics out there who'd be saying, well, yeah, I know that. I know all that about the law of attraction. I know that about that. And, I've tried it, but, it doesn't work. What would you say to those people? Because you knew quite a bit about the law of attraction and personal growth and development. But since going through this process, there's a lot that you've learned that you didn't know. What would you say to those people?
Well, I'd watched The Secret before. I'd read about The Secret. And I've kind of every kind of thing I knew was because I did athletics. I knew how to push myself hard. I knew how to work hard. I knew determination, resilience. But that's physically on the outside. Like on the inside, I never worked on myself on the inside. And I knew people that would say, "Oh, I want this in my life. Oh, let's manifest it now. I want this. I want this. I want this." But it takes a lot more work than just saying, "I want it now." And just do it once. You have to repeat it over and over and make it a habit. And it takes work. It's a lot more work than you probably think. So every morning I'd say affirmations, and I'd say, "I'm thankful for this happening today." And then every evening I'd say, "I'm thankful for this happening today." And by being thankful, you're bringing new things into your life.
Yeah.
And new opportunities. So it's learning to stop talking to yourself negatively, be more positive, and learning. This course is all about learning the techniques that can help you to achieve those things.
Well, you know what? It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for sharing all your achievements that you've achieved through this, and you've done amazingly well. And like I say to everybody, this is just the beginning. I can't wait to see the other results that you achieve through this, especially the London Marathon. That's a huge achievement in itself that you managed to get there. And let's see you in the Paralympics. I think that would be your next big goal, your C-type goal that you'd want to set, to get yourself in the Paralympics and just get the gold. You've already won 2 gold medals in the World Championships representing Great Britain. There's nothing stopping you from getting into the Paralympics. It's just the self-image and getting yourself there and believing that you can do it, right? What's your final words to those people who are watching? What would you want to say to them?
If you think you're stuck in life and you really want to achieve something new, give it a go. Give the course a go. Alpa's really helpful. She has lots of techniques that's really helpful. And it's just a new adventure. Something that you won't find kind of in your everyday life, or if you go on a course somewhere. Go on a new adventure, see what you can really do and see what you can find out. Find out if you push yourself that bit further, get out of that comfort zone and see what you can really do with your life.
Yeah. And I think it's an interesting point just to end what you've just mentioned. If you think you're stuck, that's the thing. And that's the point. Most people don't think they are stuck. Most people think they're doing absolutely fine. Right. But it's those people who are actually in their comfort zones. They don't even know it, that they are actually stuck. And really, this is for everyone. It's not whether you think you're living a bit of a shitty life right now, so let's get a coach. I think people have a misconception of what coaches are and what mentors are for. People think that, oh, if there's something wrong in my life, then I need to get a coach. But it's also as equally, if you could be doing fantastic in your life, but you want to get to the next level, right? You've hit a ceiling.
Better yourself there.
Yeah. And you've hit a ceiling and you don't know how to get to that next level. That's when you would hire somebody who can show you and demonstrate to you by results how to get the results that you want. So thank you so much, Anthony. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations.
And if you want to follow my fitness journey or my marathon journey, follow me on Instagram and YouTube. Is Ant Bryan Fitness. Check it out.
Absolutely. We'll put your details in as well so people can check you out. But until the next big news that you give me with your London Marathon, we shall end it there. And thank you so much. Take care.
Yeah. See you soon. Bye.